Online open educational resources. An analysis of the literature on online open educational resources. A presentation by Krista Hamilton. Impartial fulfillment of course requirements for Education 6610, Memorial University of Newfoundland. Open educational resources, OER, refer to online educational materials that can be made available in the public domain for reuse in teaching, learning, or research at no cost other than that related to web hosting and distribution. Schuer and Mulder described some of the characteristics of OER as being flexible, open, time-independent, and easily accessible. Totenel's study adds that no out-of-pocket expenses are incurred when accessing OER. OER is an important theme because, as Hughes and McKenna indicated, when educators can share their resources openly, they are claiming authorship and establishing a teaching identity. As well, efficiently designed OER are a means of providing inexpensive, high quality, and educationally relevant learning materials to educators. OER are also important to learners. Interviews analyzed by Tovar-Caro and Lesko indicated that OER provide a means of accessing higher education that may not have been otherwise available to them. Methods. The 15 sources were published between 2009 and 2014 and were selected from 11 peer-reviewed educational technology journals. The analysis only included sources with the words Open Educational Resources as part of the title. To figure as part of the analysis, the journal sources had to include research participants. This means that meta-analyses, book reviews, etc. were excluded. Of the 15 studies, 7 were conducted in Europe, 2 in Africa, and 2 were worldwide based. All studies included qualitative data, and 4 studies had some focus on quantitative data. The majority of the 15 studies relied on interviews, comments, and questionnaires to meet their study's purpose. The participants of the studies varied widely in academic background, position, and reasons for accessing OER. Findings. The 15 studies shared 5 main subthemes related to open educational resources, OER. These subthemes were collaboration, sustainability, value, educator and learner acceptance, and challenges. Collaboration. OER, in particular, social networking, has an academic advantage in that it can lead to increased cohesion among students working on the same course. The social networking platform of blogs as OER also increased collaboration according to Gill et al. Over 78% of students in their study said that the use of blogs as OER increased the fluidity of communication among them. Creating an OER increased collaboration among peer educators in a study by White et al. This increased collaboration in turn led to the provision of time, expertise, and collaborative space to analyze and address previous issues discussed in OER research. A qualitative study by Tovar-Caro and Lesko revealed that one of the observed benefits of open courseware, or OER initiatives, was the collaboration with other universities. Similarly, in a study by Scanlon, academic interviewees described their experiences with OER as a way to increase collaboration between faculties within their university. Sustainability. An analysis by Friesen indicated that OER confirmed to still be in use after a period of 7 years are considered as sustainable. There were sustainability concerns expressed by participants primarily in 3 studies. Friesen found that when OER were considered unsustained, they shared at least 2 of these 3 common characteristics. Content collections public or subject to Creative Commons licensing were not prioritized. The OER were not limited to a specific subject area, and the OER project began between 2001 and 2003. A sustainability issue found by Dewhurst et al. Was that of sustaining an accurate OER. Value. OER have perceived personal value and benefits to creators according to Hughes and McKenna. For the participants in this study, creating OER helped teachers increase the visibility of their work, build a reputation, and construct a sense of self. OER also have perceived value to individuals using them, according to Sapphire and Reed. They found some of the benefits of the OER to be affordance for independent study, clarity of the learning pathway through the OER, offering of advanced strategies to account for diversity of learners. Cost was also a contributing factor in the perceived value of OER. Two other items of perceived value to users of OER were having materials easily accessible and the benefit of higher learning when blogs, OpenCourseWare, and videos were used to improve face-to-face learning. Educator and learner acceptance. A study by Zaya found that Chinese students were more reluctant to take a course offered through OER as institutions that offer them were seen as second tier. What did attract some Chinese learners was the variety of content offered. The ability to find the right OER is often a barrier to its acceptance. Abiwardena et al. Concluded that the inability of generic search engines to quickly locate a suitable OER has led to apprehensiveness in the adoption of OER. Educators who were offered a centralized search mechanism served as a major step toward adoption of OER, especially for novice OER users. Similarly, Tavarkaro and Lesko found that one of the factors inhibiting implementation or use of OpenCourseWare or OER was the difficulty with locating appropriate and quality resources. Hughes and McKenna revealed that lack of awareness often contributes to acceptance issues for educators. The participants in this study had no prior experience with OER. Upon completion of an OER project, all participants actively sought OER to incorporate into their teaching and professional practice. Similarly, Rolfe concluded that when educators were unaware of the potential benefits of OER, they were less likely to adopt them. Rolfe identified that a main drive for the acceptance of OER by educators and learners was their belief in OER as reputation building for them and their institution. Shearer and Mulder found that positive public attention led to a change in acceptance attitude when time constraints were a concern. Scanlon reported that users were apprehensive about publishing their material in an open format as they saw it as unfair, that they had done all the legwork and may not be recognized for it. Challenges. Challenges for OER included copyright, social networking, and lack of human interaction. Data from Tavarkaro and Lesko's study revealed that participants were concerned with copyright issues when creators were reusing materials from sources. They also found that educators found copyright issues complicated, time-consuming, and costly. Rolfe noted that copyright is a constant barrier as most staff are not fully educated on protocol of copyright and ownership. Dewhurst et al. Also identified that there were questions of copyright. Some supplementary course materials are subject to copyright from external sources, and copyrights can also be limited use only. Dewhurst et al. Also identified the fact that a granted copyright would not extend to the life of an OER, since open educational resources may not have been in existence when the original copyright was granted. Totenel identified a set of barriers when using social networking sites as an open educational resource. The main barriers were administrative and technical, as the support for research and technology in education is still lacking. As well, Totenel concluded that there was lack of knowledge on the educator's part about how to use social networking sites as an OER to enhance learning. In terms of a regular online course, Egan et al. Noted that there is a weaker interaction between the instructor and student due to the loss of face-to-face classes. Discussion. This analysis provided evidence to support the benefit of using and creating OER to enhance learning. Efficient methods and protocol to ensure the beneficial OER are developed was also a main topic among the studies. 6 of the studies presented here discuss the positive results of incorporating OER either fully or partially into a higher education course to educators and learners. Collaboration increased among participants in a course, as well as among educators creating the resources. Collaboration is a time-saving strategy for educators and learners and also results in higher quality products. The perceived value of the benefits by learners and educators was analyzed by 4 of the studies. Perceived value to creators of OER was related to pride and acknowledgement of the author. Perceived value to individual users of OER were the ability to study independently, save money on resources, and learn according to learning style. Participants in many of the studies were concerned with the sustainability of OER. Unless there's a willingness and ability from creators to develop high-quality resources, maintain them, and ensure they are accessible, the OER will not survive. They must be accurate, organized, limited in subject area, and must have long-term credibility. Finding the right resources was one barrier to acceptance and was actually determined to be a time-consuming task. Dewhurst et al. Recognized this time concern and the need for a system to accurately search for high-quality resources. Not receiving thorough education concerning the benefits of OER was also a factor in users not adopting them. Copyright issues were a priority concern of study participants, since use and ownership of materials is a legal concern. Participants from 3 studies in particular voiced their views of copyright issues as being complicated and time-consuming. Conclusions. The prominent theme of the 15 studies is that open educational resources are important to enhancing education. For example, Gill et al. Established that the students in their OER blog study received higher grades than those in previous years that did not use OER. As well, Totenell concluded that social networking OER can benefit students in terms of peer interaction. It is also concluded from these studies that more research is needed to improve OER to make them accessible, time-saving, of high quality, easily found, specific, organized, attractive, affordable, sustainable, and correctly copyrighted. As well, more resources need to be provided to ensure all educators understand the benefits and workings of high-quality OER. Implications. Future implications from this analysis suggest the creation of a search engine designed specifically for OER. As well, OER redesigned into higher quality resources will be beneficial to learners and educators. Furthermore, public attention, such as offering free courses, can benefit higher education institutions. In terms of OER design, extra attention needs to be paid to the details of creation, such as making the OER very subject-specific. More research is required to determine optimal use of OER. As well, more research is needed to determine if there is a benefit of online materials over traditional materials. Educators also require more training and education to increase acceptance of using OER. Limitations. The majority of the 15 studies concentrated on OER in higher education. There were very few resources, none found in the journals searched, which focused on OER at the high school level. As well, the 15 studies analyzed focused primarily on OER as open courseware, rather than as a sharing resource for educators to use to enhance their current teaching. There was much emphasis on the perspective of educators in terms of open courseware and OER, and not as many studies that focused on learner perspectives. Open educational resources is a broad term that encompasses many online materials. There is evidence to show that particular OER are beneficial to learners and educators, but without analyzing each type of OER, findings cannot be generalized to all open educational resources. As well, there were a variety of different scenarios described when the OER studies were conducted, such as educator use and acceptance, OER creation, and learner use. These studies of multiple scenarios have resulted in qualitative data about the effectiveness of particular OER, but there are only a limited number of academic studies on each area.